Thank you so much for attending my presentation about Garganacl, the rock type that could, and first we need to talk about the rock type. Rock has been one of the more volatile types. Offensively, it's pretty damn great. Most importantly, it hits the common flying and fire types for super effective damage while only being resisted by 3, but on defense, things go downhill quickly. Rock's resists are not only largely unimportant, but it also gets owned by many common offensive types. Water, fighting, ground, steel, and grass moves all nail it for super effective damage, making it tough to stay in against a large chunk of good offensive Pokemon. Thus, successful rock types are almost always strong, not slow and bulky. Ogerpon Cornerstone, Mega Diancie, Terrakion, and Lycanroc are all great examples. When Game Freak does decide to make a foray into bulky rocks, it rarely goes well. The best example of this is Bastiodon, which is the horrible rock steel typing. This is a large part of its struggles, it just doesn't live very long at all. These move pools are also pretty predictable. Stab, Stealth Rocks, and a few niche supportive options. They got thrown a bone in recent gens with Iron Defense and Body Press, but it didn't help much. However, Garganacl is basically the only non-offensively oriented rock type to have success in modern generations, aside from Shuckle of course. Its stats, while obviously good, aren't anything special in comparison to its bolder brothers. So what separates it? Pretty much everything else. Purifying Sol is one of the best abilities it could ask for. Not only does it get a ghost resistance, but it also can't be statused. This isn't good as gold, but not being susceptible to poison or sleep is really nice. One move makes its bulk way better. Recover. It's pretty much the only bulky rock to get instant recovery. It can actually stick around after eating a hit. Things get better though. Garganacl has one of the best forms of pressure around in Salt Cure. This move deals 1/8 of the opponent's health at the end of each turn and 1/4 against water and steel types. This is really good. Vitally, it makes switching out of Garganacl scary. Against so many defensive Pokemon, it's pretty easy to switch to your attacker risk-free. They often just aren't that threatening. But with Salt Cure, it can always put a timer on its biggest checks. Finally, most ironically, it doesn't have to be a rock type because of Terra. Garganacl can very easily become something way better, like Fairy, which makes it even more difficult to stop. These 3 tools, which also let it take greater advantage of Terra, give it an edge over other rocks. Singles Garganacl is fantastic in many different formats with mostly similar sets. This thing often goes with the bulky Curse or Iron Defense set, both beating the fuck out of physical Pokemon and threatening tons of damage back. These are really difficult to stop once they get going, mostly because of Recover. Where other slow, bulky rock types have to just accept the damage they take, Gar can actually handle it. Of course, it can also play a more traditional role as a tough rocker. It absorbs hits, clicks Salt Cure, maybe protects dolls a bit, and heals itself. Setting up on it in an attempt to break through is risky. Staying in on it is risky. Switching into it's risky. It's fantastic at forcing good damage when it gets in safely. Getting out on the field really isn't that hard either. Garganacl's stats are just good enough to bring it in on many threats where it can then wreak havoc. It's currently ranked OU and is very, very strong. It's in the A rank, finding places on all kinds of teams from bulky offense to balance to stall. And guess what? It's also great in Uber's UU, where its defensive profile is vital against offensive demons Magearna and Palkia. It's even usable against tier staples Arceus, Stark, and Shiyu, often opting for body press and special defense investment. Overall, a fantastic mon. Garganacl's play in VGC is much more shaky, but it has seen a lot of success, mostly in the early formats. Before legendaries or even Paradox Pokemon were legalized, the rock was rocking. Surprisingly, it was one of the most consistent answers to Goldengo, whose make rains were an absolute nightmare. This was checked with Wide Guard stopping the spread move, and Guard could even deal with Shadow Ball using the Purifying Salt ability. That ability was also great against sleep moves, in particular Amoonguss' Spore and Lilligant's Sleep Powder. It peaked in Regulation A, winning the first regional of the generation at San Diego. G-Sockly ran alongside more niche picks Mimikyu and Tauros, providing invaluable support. It would slow down after. Garganacl would see sporadic usage in Regulations B and C, but eventually fall out of favor once legendaries were introduced in the summer. However, it might be on the upswing. It's a small niche, but it could see some real use as a Calyrex Shadow Check, blocking Astro Barrage and eating Draining Kiss with Terra Poison. It's not going to be amazing or anything, but could very well turn some heads. In conclusion, Garganacl has overcome the idea that bulky rock types are all bad. It turns out all they needed was a status immunity, a broken chip move, instant recovery, and the ability to not be a rock type. Jesus Christ, rocks are not very good at all. Thank you so much for watching.